across the vast deserts of central Australia, where the red earth stretches endlessly toward the horizon. There lies a facility so remote and so deeply woven into global intelligence networks that few people will ever learn its full story. This place is Pine Gap, a joint U.S.-Australia satellite and signals intelligence station hidden just outside the quiet town of Alice Springs. From afar, its appearance is almost surreal. Massive white spheres, called redomes, rising from the sun-scorched plain like a cluster of alien eggs, surrounded by fences, warning signs, and cameras. They hint at a depth of secrecy far greater than meets the eye. But behind those silent domes lies one of the most important and least understood intelligence hubs on the planet. To understand Pine Gap is to step into the invisible world of space-based surveillance, missile tracking, and the Cold War race for strategic dominance. Pine Gap was born in the late 1960s, a time when satellite technology was new and nations were scrambling for any advantage. Australia's central desert offered the United States something priceless: geographic isolation, interference-free radio conditions, and a perfect position for controlling geosynchronous satellites, hovering 22,000 miles above Earth. Those satellites became the backbone of early missile warning systems, and Pine Gap operated as their ground station. It was the point where infrared data and heat signatures from distant orbits were captured, processed, and routed to decision-makers who had mere minutes, sometimes seconds, to respond to potential threats. As the Cold War escalated, Pine Gap evolved. The intelligence alliance, known as the Five, eyes the US, UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, strengthened their collaboration, sharing signals intelligence in ways the public wouldn't learn about for decades. Shielded by mountains, Pine Gap became the perfect southern hemisphere anchor for these global networks. It monitored missile activity, helped track weapons testing, and provided allies with real-time situational awareness that could prevent catastrophic miscalculations. Parliamentary reports have even confirmed that Pine Gap played a major role in arms control verification, helping ensure nuclear treaties were honored. But the Cold War was only the beginning. As global communication networks expanded, so did Pine Gap's capabilities. It grew to support satellite communications essential for Allied operations, humanitarian missions, and peacekeeping efforts. Inside, analysts, technicians, and engineers worked around the clock, often without public acknowledgement, feeding data into systems that shaped policies continents away. To the people living in Alice Springs, Pine Gap is both familiar and inscrutable. It's a place whose employees arrive and leave in unmarked buses, a place where aircraft land at night on a private runway, and where supply trucks appear without fanfare. The surrounding desert is monitored by sensors buried beneath sand and stone. Travelers passing through the outback often describe the strange feeling of being watched, long before the base even becomes visible. Locals talk about the rhythmic pulse of aircraft engines echoing across the desert, or the way the redomes glow softly under the moon, almost as if the base is breathing. None of this is unusual for a high-security installation, but Pine Gap's isolation amplifies its mystique. The nearest major city is over 900 miles away. The silence is so deep that the hum of generators seems unnatural, and those white domes, smooth and opaque, hide the advanced satellite tracking systems within massive dishes capable of locking onto spacecraft thousands of miles above Earth. Over the years, researchers and journalists have pieced together Pine Gap's role using declassified documents and official testimonies. These paint a picture of a facility central to early warning networks, detecting missile launches and monitoring global hotspots. According to government disclosures, Pine Gap's systems help track ballistic missile tests, monitor nuclear events, and support Allied operations by relaying critical satellite communications. During international crises, Pine Gap becomes one of the first stations to detect the infrared signatures of rocket-launched tiny bursts of heat. Against the cold background of space-providing allies, with precious seconds of awareness. In an age when conflicts can evolve in minutes, that capability is nothing short of vital. And yet, because intelligence relies on secrecy, its operations remain locked behind layers of classification. Even the facility's architecture reflects this. The redomes conceal which direction the satellite dishes are pointed, making it impossible for observers to know which satellites are being accessed. The exact number of personnel, their roles, and the systems they manage are all controlled under strict joint oversight by the US and Australian governments. But secrecy has a way of inviting imagination. Reporters standing near the perimeter fence describe the strange hum of equipment and the way security vehicles appear on distant ridges as if materializing from thin air. At night, the domes glow with reflected moonlight, silent and unblinking. The desert wind whispers across the red dirt, creating the eerie sensation that something unseen is moving just beyond the floodlights. Because Pine Gap is part of a global network, it appears in discussions about satellite tracking, space domain awareness, and the invisible architecture of digital age intelligence. This isn't just a Cold War relic. It plays a critical role in modern conflict environments, where satellites guide operations, communications, and emergency responses. From monitoring missile tests across continents to helping track natural disasters through orbital sensors, the facility's influence touches far more than the desert that hides it. Today, Pine Gap stands at the intersection of old secrecy and new technology. The world relies on satellites more than ever for navigation, communications, environmental monitoring, and military awareness. And the desert base remains a central node in this global web, supporting data that shapes policy and strengthens the alliance between the United States and Australia. Its secrecy is not evidence of wrongdoing. It is the very nature of intelligence work in a world where transparency can compromise safety. It is a place where information moves faster than missiles, and where silence is not emptiness, but the hum of constant activity hidden from public view. Standing outside Pine Gap, looking across the desert at the white domes shimmering on the horizon, you feel that the facility represents something much larger than itself, a reminder that modern security depends not just on weapons or armies, but on knowledge, on the unseen flow of data that shapes decisions long before the world knows those decisions were made. In the end, Pine Gap's story is not one of conspiracy. It is a story of cooperation, global stability, and the quiet machinery that keeps nations aware in an age where threats can emerge without warning. Hidden in the Australian outback, Pine Gap is a symbol of the unseen world that watches the skies not to control them, but to understand them. And while we may never know the full picture of what happens within its walls, we know enough to understand its purpose, to observe, to warn, and to listen long before danger arrives. Welcome to Hidden US. This is episode 34. Pine Gap, the US-Australia Global Surveillance Hub. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more hidden stories.